Hello everyone who is following the channel. Today, we will witness an emotional journey, where Jack decided to bring Tu Tien back to the land where she was born. The faint hope that old memories can awaken her lost memories. Will that return be the key to open the door of memories? Or will it just make everything more complicated? Let's follow the whole story today to discover the truth behind this journey back to her homeland. Please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episodes in Tu Tien's journey to regain her memories. After listening to Tung tell in detail about the difficult situation of the old couple who accidentally caused the accident that caused Tu Tien to fall into a state of amnesia, Jack could not help but ponder. He did not blame or resent. In his heart at this moment, there was only one desire: how to help Tu Tien recover, so that her eyes could look at him like before, full of love, and realize that he was not just a stranger. Leaving the place where Tung was investigating, Jack quickly returned to the hospital. He still kept that habit, sitting next to her hospital bed, holding her cold hand and talking to her every day, even though he knew that those words might not reach her memories. There were nights when he did not sleep, just quietly watching her, the girl he loved, lying there with a calm face, eyes without direction and a soul that seemed to be drifting somewhere. Fortunately, after a few days of intensive treatment, Tu Tien began to show signs of recovery. Her eyes gradually regained their spirit. Her hands could move slightly. And although her memory was still vague, her body was gradually getting better. This morning, the doctor came to examine her in person. After a thorough examination, he gently said, "Her physical condition is now stable. However, her memory has not yet recovered. I think you can try taking her to places that are deeply attached to her, maybe her hometown, or places that have special memories. Whether happy or sad, contact with a familiar space can stimulate the brain, awakening forgotten memories." Hearing this, Jack nodded slightly. A clear thought immediately flashed in his mind. He suddenly remembered the story of Mrs. Dao, the woman who raised Tu Tien when she was young, and the old house in the remote countryside, a place that was probably an important part of her life. That afternoon, when the sunlight had cooled down, Jack gently asked the doctor for permission. "If possible, this afternoon I would like to take her back to her hometown, where she was born. Who knows, that place might awaken something in her." The doctor thought for a moment and then nodded. "Okay, but remember to keep a close eye on her. Don't let her get too emotional." Jack held Tu Tien's hand, looked into her still hazy eyes, and smiled slightly. "Let's go home, Tu Tien, where it all began." That afternoon, while continuing to investigate Tu Tien's true identity, Tung happened to pass by the village tea shop, a quiet place but a familiar gathering place for the locals. Just as he was about to step in to ask for some information, Tung suddenly stopped when he discovered two acquaintances sitting in a hidden corner under the shade of an old tamarind tree, a mother and son named Tien. Not knowing if it was by accident or on purpose, the two seemed to be talking quite loudly, completely unaware that someone was eavesdropping nearby. Tung frowned, stepped back and hid behind the wooden wall, trying to listen clearly. "Mom, you see, this time I found a good deal. Not only do I know Tu Tien's biological parents, but I also have a clear home address. Just show it to Jack. I guarantee he will pay without hesitation." Tien whispered to his mother, his eyes sparkling with calculation. "Yeah, but you have to be smart. Don't be too obvious. People like him are not easy to lure. I just hope to get a decent amount this time. Then we can pack up and leave for sure." At that moment, Tien pulled out an old envelope from his pocket, which contained a few faded photos. He pulled out one and said, "Here, a photo of his biological parents. They look exactly alike." But before he could show it off to his mother, a hand suddenly reached out from behind and grabbed the photo. Tien turned around, stunned to see Tung standing right behind him, his eyes cold. "Where did you get this photo?" Tung growled, still holding tightly onto the photo of two older people, his eyes kind but tinged with sadness. They clearly looked like Tu Tien. Tien looked confused and quickly snatched it back, but Tung held on tight. He evaded. "It has nothing to do with you. Give me that photo. Not until you tell me where you got it." Tung shouted softly, as if suppressing an anger that was about to flare up. Seeing that he could not deny it, Chen's mother immediately pulled her son's hand to stand up, glared at Tung and said, "There is no obligation to tell him. Let's go, son." The mother and son hurriedly left the shop, leaving Tung standing there with many unanswered questions. He knew that things could not be delayed any longer. Immediately, Tung took out his phone and called Jack in a serious voice. "Jack, I just discovered an extremely important matter related to Tu Tien's biological parents. We have to meet in person. We cannot talk about it over the phone. Please arrange to meet me right away." On the other end of the line, Jack was stunned for a few seconds, but then he quickly replied, Okay, I will come right away. I asked my mother to watch Tu Tien for a while. Needless to say, both of them understood the importance of this information. Will the secret about Tu Tien's true identity be completely revealed this time? Jack left the hospital, his heart filled with an indescribable feeling, both hope and fear. That afternoon, Jack rushed to the meeting place after receiving an urgent call from him. Jack's mind was in turmoil with a series of thoughts. Could it be that the clue about Tu Tien's biological parents had finally been revealed? As soon as he stopped the car, he saw Tung standing at the corner of a roadside cafe, holding something tightly in a file. As soon as he saw Jack approaching, Tung immediately pulled out an old photo. Discolored by time, he handed it to Jack without saying anything, just quietly observing his friend's reaction. Jack took it, but his expression quickly changed when he realized that the photo only contained the lower half of the two people's bodies. The heads had been torn off, leaving only their legs and the hem of their shirts peeking out in the messy frame. Tung smiled awkwardly, shrugged. When I was struggling with Tien, I was not careful and tore the head off. Jack frowned, sighed helplessly. How can we recognize who is who like this? Tung nodded slightly, but his voice quickly became serious. I know, but I heard something even more important. Chen's mother and son don't just have this photo. When I was hiding nearby, I clearly heard them say they had a few other photos, and the home address of Tu Tien's biological parents. Jack was startled, his eyes wide open. Address? They even know where they live? Yes, but Tien refused to tell me where he got these photos. It was clear that they intended to use them to bargain with you. In exchange for money, Tung added, his voice lowered, but I don't know the specifics yet. We have to investigate further. We can't miss this important clue. Jack clenched the torn photo in his hand, his eyes quiet with determination. Jack gently raised his hand to look at his watch. The hour hand pointed to the exact time he had an appointment with the doctor to take Tu Tien back to her old hometown. He paused for a few seconds, his eyes downcast, as if amidst a series of unanswered questions about Tu Tien's background and the secrets that were gradually being revealed. He was forced to temporarily put everything aside. It's time, Jack said softly, then looked up at Tung, his eyes filled with regret but determination. I have to take Tu Tien back to her hometown as promised to the doctor. Maybe that place will help her remember something. Tung nodded, patting Jack's shoulder. Yes, just take her back first. As for this matter, let me continue to monitor Tien and her mother. If anything happens, I will let you know right away. Jack thanked him and quickly turned around and walked away, leaving behind his unfinished words. He knew that this journey back to the past was not only to help Tu Tien recover her memory, but also an opportunity for him to be closer to her, once again. From the beginning, the afternoon wind blew gently. Jack's heart seemed to carry new hope. The afternoon was cool. The gentle sunlight covered the small winding village road with 2 rows of bamboo leaning and rustling in the wind. Jack quietly pushed the wheelchair, on which was Tu Tien, a girl with a distant, empty gaze, still unable to find any memories from her past. This road used to be a part of her childhood, where she used to run, laugh, and have her first dreams. But now, when she returned, everything before her eyes were just strange images, as if she were standing in someone else's life. Do you remember anything? Jack asked softly, his voice gentle as if afraid to break the fragile silence between the two. Tu Tien just shook her head slightly, her eyes still following the roofs looming behind the bamboo bushes, her face calm but with something restless. When the car just approached the road on the outskirts of the suburbs, she suddenly spoke softly. Stop, I want to get off the car. I want to walk this part. Jack was a little surprised but immediately stopped and gently helped her up. The two of them walked slowly, following the winding red dirt road. Tu Tien said nothing, just letting her feet lead the way, as if an unconscious instinct was pulling her to somewhere far away in her subconscious. Suddenly, before their eyes appeared a spacious garden house. The gate was half closed. Tu Tien suddenly stopped, her hand lightly gripping Jack's hand. Her eyes blinked quickly. There was something in this scene that made her heart flutter, a strange familiarity that she couldn't name. And then, like a reflex, she walked towards the gate. Just then, the gate opened. The old couple from inside hurriedly walked out. They were stunned when they saw Tu Tien. Then their eyes lit up with joy. Oh my God, where are you two going? Come in, sit down and rest for a bit. You haven't fully recovered yet and you're already walking around like this. The woman said, both happy and worried. Jack nodded slightly, somewhat surprised. Yes, the doctor said to take her to familiar places, hoping that her memories would gradually resurface. But honestly, I don't understand why I ended up here. Tu Tien still stood still, her eyes looking around the yard, the sunlight reflecting on the old cement floor, the smell of dry leaves, The sound of wind blowing through the rusty fence. Something inside her was moving, but not enough to wake her up. Everything was still like smoke. But Jack believed, at that moment, her soul was gradually touching the boundary between oblivion and memory.